The man in the janitor's closet, true school lockdown. You always assume you're safe at school, even when there's a lockdown drill or a rumor about a fight. It never feels real. You're surrounded by teachers, security, hundreds of other students. It's just another normal day. But in 2022, during my senior year of high school, I learned how quickly that illusion can shatter. Because someone sneaked into my school with a plan, and he was hiding just a few feet away from all of us. It was a Monday morning second period. I remember because we were watching a documentary in history class, and no one was paying attention. Phones out, joking around, just killing time. Then the principal's voice came over the loudspeaker. We are entering a soft lockdown. Teachers, please, lock your doors. No students in the halls until further notice. Now, a soft lockdown wasn't a big deal. It usually meant they were sweeping lockers, or someone got caught with weed. Our teacher even made a joke about it being Drug Dog Monday. But 20 minutes later it escalated. Lights off, doors locked, blinds down, get low, stay quiet. That's when we realized something wasn't right. Everyone in the class went quiet. We crouched in the corner furthest from the door, huddled between backpacks and desks. The only sound was the low hum of the air conditioning. Then we heard footsteps, heavy boots, slow, coming down the hallway. They stopped right outside our door. Whoever it was started to jiggle the door handle. We all held our breath. Then the sound moved on. At first we thought maybe it was an administrator checking locks, but the way the handle jiggled so slow, like whoever was doing it wasn't in a hurry, it didn't feel like a teacher. And then, from further down the hall, we heard screaming. Muffled, but real, terrified. Then the intercom came on again, this time a different tone. Urgent. Remain in lockdown. This is not a drill. I swear that sentence chilled every person in that room to the bone. We sat like that for what felt like forever. One girl near me started quietly crying. Our teacher, who'd been joking just an hour ago, was dead silent, crouched by the door with a baseball bat he'd kept behind his desk. Eventually the lockdown ended. They didn't give us details right away, just that it was under control and we were being dismissed early. It wasn't until later that day, after the news broke, that we found out what had really happened. A man mid-30s had sneaked into the school early that morning. He wasn't a parent, not a student, not staff. He had followed a delivery van through the side gate and slipped in through a propped open side door. Then he hid in a janitor's closet just a few feet from the main hallway. He waited there. He wasn't armed with a gun, but when police found him, he had duct tape, zip ties, and a box cutter in his backpack. They say he was watching the halls through the vent slats in the closet door, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the bell to ring. The part that still gets to me, what keeps me up some nights, is how close it came to being worse. He never made it past that first hallway because someone in the security office noticed him acting strange on one of the cameras. They called police before he even left the closet. But think about that. He was inside the school, in the hallway, a few feet from where hundreds of us were walking to class. He had a box cutter, he had duct tape, he had a plan, and no one knows exactly what it was. They never released his name publicly, just said he had a history of mental health issues and that he wasn't connected to anyone at the school. But every time I think about it, I wonder what would have happened if no one saw him on camera. What if the lockdown came 5 minutes later? We could have opened that closet. He could have come out on his own. And what really haunts me is that he never even ran. When they found him, he was just standing there in the dark, staring at the door like he was still waiting for the right time. I walk past that janitor's closet every time I visit the school now, and every single time I swear I can still feel him standing in there, waiting. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends. The Substitute in the Shadow. This happened in 2018 when I was in ninth grade. It was a normal Thursday morning. Nothing felt off until second period. We had a substitute that day for biology. I don't even remember her name. She looked nervous even before the class started, kept double-checking the attendance sheet, flipping through the lesson plan like she didn't know where to begin. About 10 minutes into class, everything changed. The lockdown alarm went off, 3 sharp buzzes and flashing lights, then the announcement, "This is a lockdown. Teachers, lock your doors immediately." Everyone went still. At first we thought it was a drill, until we saw the substitute's face. She froze, eyes wide, pale as paper. She clearly had no idea what to do. She just stood there in front of the class, clutching the attendance clipboard like it could protect her. I jumped out of my seat, ran to the door, twisted the lock, and turned off the lights. Everyone else kneeled behind the lab tables and the tall supply cabinets. It got quiet. Too quiet. 5 minutes passed. Not a sound. Then, heavy footsteps in the hallway. Fast, aggressive, like someone running. They stopped just outside our classroom. We were all sitting on the floor, pressed against the cabinets and walls, and from our angle we could just barely see the 2 square windows in the door. Someone walked up. They just stood there, motionless, right at the door. It wasn't a teacher. No walkie-talkie, no badge, not even a student. The figure was tall, wearing all black, hood up. I couldn't see their face. They didn't knock, didn't try the handle. Then they lifted one arm slowly and pointed at the door. Just pointed, not moving, not making a sound. I didn't breathe. I couldn't. None of us made a sound. The substitute had backed into a corner, trembling. She looked like she was about to cry. The figure stood there for what felt like forever, then just turned and walked away. But we never heard footsteps, not even one. The lockdown lasted another 40 minutes. By the time it ended, the entire school was buzzing with rumors. We found out that a student from a nearby school had been caught with a weapon 2 blocks away and never entered our school. But that caused the lockdown. But here's the thing. Our classroom was in the East Wing. That hallway had cameras. So after things settled down, our actual biology teacher returned the next day, and we asked her, had anyone checked the footage? She said yes. Security reviewed everything. But according to the cameras, no one ever walked up to our door. They saw no one run past. No one stop outside. Nothing. We asked if maybe it was a glitch. Maybe the camera missed it. But our teachers said it clearly showed the empty hallway during the entire lockdown, especially the moment when we said someone was pointing at the door. There was no shadow, no silhouette, nothing. She said no one hostile ever entered the school. I think about it way too often now. Because someone was out there. We all saw it. So how did the cameras see no one? To this day I can't explain it. Maybe someone knew how to avoid the cameras. Maybe it was someone who'd been inside already. Maybe it was someone who wasn't supposed to exist at all. But I'll never forget the way they pointed. Not trying to get in, not trying to knock, just pointing, like they already knew we were there. Stay alert. Some doors shouldn't be opened. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content, and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends. The Girl in the Window, a true school lockdown horror. This happened at my cousin's school in Ohio. It's one of those older brick buildings tucked away near the edge of town. The kind of place that feels a little too quiet during the winter. It was just after lunch, early January. Snow had been falling all morning, coating the courtyard in a thick, untouched white. That's when the lockdown happened. The announcement blared over the speakers, 3 sharp tones, then attention staff and students. This is a lockdown. Secure all doors, remain silent. But here's the thing, my cousin and a few others were still outside, eating near the courtyard. They froze for a second, looked at each other, then ran. The closest safe room was the art wing, just past the courtyard doors. They sprinted through the snow, slipping, panicking, hearts pounding in their ears. The art teacher saw them and waved them in at the last second, slammed the door, locked it, then turned off the lights. The room had big windows along the back wall facing the courtyard, but the blinds were mostly drawn down except for one narrow strip at the bottom. They crouched low, silent, waiting. You could hear everyone breathing. That kind of fear where you don't even want to shift your weight or let your backpack crinkle. Then someone whispered, "Who is that?" There was a girl standing in the courtyard. She was in a cheer uniform, no jacket, no scarf, just a short skirt and thin top, out in the snow. Her skin was pale. Her hair was long and stuck to her face like it was wet. She stood completely still, facing the window, facing them. Nobody recognized her, not one of the kids, not the teacher. Her arms hung unnaturally straight at her sides. Her head was tilted just slightly like she was trying to listen through the glass. And her eyes, they were locked on that small open panel at the bottom of the blinds. They stared at her for 10 minutes, maybe more. She didn't move, didn't blink. One of the students tried to take a picture with their phone, but the screen went black, wouldn't even load the camera app. The teacher tried to whisper to the front office on the classroom phone, but the line was dead. It started to feel like they weren't alone in the room. One of the boys started crying quietly. He swore he saw her smile. When the police finally arrived, they cleared each wing one by one. The kids were escorted out in pairs. Still no explanation for the lockdown. Still no word on who the girl was. But the art teacher asked the officer if they had seen anyone in the courtyard. The cop paused, then said, "There were no footprints. The snow was untouched, not a single step out there, and the school's surveillance cameras, they were malfunctioning. Nothing got recorded during the entire lockdown. No one had been reported missing. No practice, no events, nothing." But that's not the part that stuck with me. It's what my cousin told me later. Their school hadn't had a cheer team in over 6 years, due to an accidental death during a practice 6 years ago. She wasn't supposed to be there. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for spine-chilling horror content and to watch more scary videos. Please share with family and friends.